I think we need some glamour. 1 week in Abu Dhabi, all expenses paid for all four of us. Get out of town.
My point exactly. I can hear the decadence calling.
I can't stand these bitches. I ain't gonna even waste no time jumping right to it. They get on my fucking nerves.
I hate the fact that I had to hand in my nuts and bolts before I walked into the theater to watch this damn movie.
Well, you ain't using them anyway.
Look, I know there's women out there getting mad. I know there's even gay men out there getting mad, saying, "Oh, you just can't stand this because this is a movie for women and gay men. And why do you have to call them bitches? Why do you use that term all the time?" Listen,
And it's fabulous.
and you just don't get it. No, let me tell you something. I stand firm on this because I can tell you why I use that term bitches, because they are. And later in review, I will explain to you why. I know that's a very harsh criticism there, but this movie just bothered me, man.
Can we agree, though, on the very least, that no matter what our reviews are, they don't apply to a large segment of society? That there's no way we can speak for the segment of society that is going to absolutely love this movie no matter what.
I don't even know why people would love this movie. I mean,
I do. I totally get why.
I get it.
You know, this movie is definitely not for us, and I concur. Yeah,
No.
They did not make this movie for us, and no, I did not enjoy watching it. But as I was watching, I was like, for what it's intended for, the people who are looking to this be the Sex and the City movie, it is streets ahead of the last Sex and the City movie.
you thought that this was better than the last?
I gotta agree
yeah.
with him. Like the last Sex and the City movie, I hated all those women. They are horrible people. I can't believe you're making me sit here and watch them indulge themselves over and over.
Yeah,
This
every
time
last
around,
one of
I was
them
like,
was a
you know
bitch.
what? Two of them have actually kind of matured and grown up. Carrie is the main one who's a big brat. I'm like, wow, she's supposed to be the heart and soul of this thing, and she is a horrible person.
And they even gave her a bit of convincing, redemption, too, though, in this movie. I was like, as much as they made me hate her, and I was like, you really want the woman to sympathize with her? The movie doesn't really sympathize with her, and you don't realize that till later, but I was like, I gotta hand it to him. This is a more mature film than the last one. It's porn, but it's still more mature than the last one.
So you're telling me it took them 6 or 7 seasons plus a movie and this one to make them somewhat likable?
No, the TV series actually wasn't bad.
They're likable on TV series.
Yeah.
That is my thing about this. I mean, in this movie, we see the return of Carrie, Charlotte, Miranda, and Samantha. And on the show, that's another thing. I didn't run out to catch episodes of the show, but I actually started watching it. It would come on. I was like, okay, I'm into it. I'll watch it.
There might be nudity.
Yeah, there was. There was always some man's ass on the screen, but hey, it's for women. And I think these characters are very self-indulgent. You're right. I thought they were more self-indulgent than ever in this film. But in the show, it made sense. I mean, they were upscale, up-city females who were living that lifestyle, and you watch them, and it's for those people who want to live vicariously through them.
Sure.
They have high-paying but lightweight jobs where they can just take off at any moment and go shop at any time of the day, go for an expensive lunch, and they're always buying shit. But then in the middle there would be some story that would hook you about their romantic lives, and I like that. And in the movie, because it was taken out of a format that was short, they seemed to stretch them out to the point where I saw more flaws in those characters than I ever saw in the show.
Well, the show wasn't built around, it's a half-hour show, each episode. These characters aren't designed to sustain a 2-hour story. They really 2+
The reality
hours.
breaks down after that.
Exactly. And this time, as opposed to the first movie, they kind of acknowledge that. The makers go, look, these are fantasy characters for a woman. Every single one of them is a certain type of archetype fantasy for a certain type of woman. And they fulfill fantasies for those women watching it. I mean, this film is nothing but woman porn. Nothing inherently wrong with it, but that's what it is. And for that, in and of itself, it's not bad at doing that. It's certainly colorful.
Where are there swords and dragons? If you're talking about fantasy, that's what I want to see, because
For women.
Not being a fan. Well, fantasy is a fantasy.
You gotta roll your saber throw before you go into this movie.
If I was a woman, I want to see
not
him.
Felicia Day.
If I was a woman, I want to see him nude and having fun with each other. But I guess I'm not gonna get that either. But being not a fan of the show, I've never seen a single episode.
This is weirding me out. The co-host is turning me on.
I didn't see the last movie. Honestly, And I just walked in just going, okay, I'm not going to go look on Wikipedia. I'm not going to do research. I'm just going to see this movie as for what it is. And I tell you what.
Why should I do work for my job?
The movie actually, as far as not being a fan, not knowing any of these characters, this movie just bored me to tears. I thought the characters were completely annoying. I was kind of insulted that all these people in that theater that we were watching this knew every character because they always had to scream every time a certain character popped up. And I was like, why are these people so attracted to these fucking disgusting materialistic women?
Because of what they know about them from 6 seasons beforehand.
But it didn't make any sense to me. I really felt like I was in another world. But I'm looking at it as a movie though. I just thought, I was like, okay, it's like stepping in the lives of these people who you just met and you just would never want to hang out with ever.
Let me tell you something. You haven't not have any history with any of these characters or this show or even these movies.
Or woman.
Woman.
Hey, they're women too.
He had a torrid affair with a toaster.
You walking into this is a completely annoying experience because you never saw these characters for being good characters when they were, as Cyrus said, in a shorter format. I mean, here, it's even a stretch of trying to make a movie. In the movie, it starts out with them in New York, and all of them seem to be at some turning point in their lives. I mean, either they're bored with their current lives somehow. Maybe one person who already went through all their troubles in their marriages and their relationships has grown a little bit. But everybody else seems to either be bored, frustrated, or they just need to do something different. And so in New York, you see them deal with those problems firsthand. Now, in a fucking stretch, Samantha runs into an old boyfriend. He's in a movie. They go to an after party. They meet one of the financiers of the film, who happens to be from Abu Dhabi. And he, out of nowhere, he tells Samantha, "Oh, I've met you before. Please, get on my private airline and come to Abu Dhabi, where it's more of a modern city in the Middle East." And all of them, guess what? All of them can just all of a sudden just conveniently drop their jobs and their family lives and go 6,000 miles across the sea.
1 week in Abu Dhabi, all expenses paid.
I've always been fascinated by the Middle East. You know, desert moons, Scheherazade, magic carpets.
Like Jasmine and Aladdin?
Yes, sweetie, just like Jasmine, but with cocktails.
It really is exciting. When are you going to go?
I don't know. When can you all be free? You didn't think I was going without my gals. All expenses paid for everything for all 4 of us. All we have to do is pick the week, and the sooner the better.
Let me just check my work schedule. Yeah? All clear.
Well, I gotta check with the old ball and chain, but I'm good to go. Middle East 3.
Charlotte, how's 3 weeks from now?
Oh, I don't know.
I go to children's birthday parties for you. You are going to Abu Dhabi for me.
Children's birthday parties. Pulling out the big guns.
This is where the movie becomes really
just a fantasy.
Well, almost not even just a fantasy, but almost insulting to me, because they get over there, they become like very one-dimensional. They either go over there to be stupid Americans, or if you're Samantha, you try to fuck everything, or to sit around and complain about their problems, which they do absolutely nothing about except sit around, look at shoes, cry,
get drunk,
and that is it.
I like what you said. You made a very great point.
Wait a minute, hold on. The other thing is to look at other cultures, not for the culture that it is, but to instead see what kind of clothes they're wearing that are very American, or to find out who is gay in that culture.
Like you said, you can easily wrap that up by easily saying that one thing you said was showing everybody how stupid Americans can be.
Well, there's a whole lot of that going on. I mean, look, when I say I like this one better than the last one, which I absolutely hated, it's because they were all going from, so many of them were like, hey, I'm going from my single life that I've had, and you watch me, to be mature, and they were all fighting it every way and crying, and it got to be like, look, you bitches, grow up. Now you get here, I would say like the 2 women who have children, they actually had like at least one scene together where I was like, you know what, that was actually had some meaning to it.
I like that scene.
Yeah, it was a very good scene. But like those 2 characters,
it was between Cynthia Nixon, who was Miranda.
Yeah, between Miranda and
Kristen Wilson. Kristen Wilson. What's her name?
God damn it.
Kristen Davis.
Kristen Davis.
Charlotte.
Yeah. Charlotte and Miranda. They actually have a good scene because they're both mothers now. They bond over that, and it's like, wow, this is actually a real moment in this movie. And these are 2 characters throughout who, for the most part, are trying to stay grounded. But Carrie now is the one who is like, look, you fought so hard, at least for 2.5 hours in this first movie, to marry this guy who has a name, even though you still dehumanize him by calling him Big. Now he's being a loving husband. She's shitting on that like, you don't take me out. I know you're a millionaire, but you don't spend $1 million on me every day. What's happening with that? It's annoying.
Kim Cattrall, who plays Samantha, she annoyed me the most, and she's actually one of the characters that I like the most. I'm like, yeah, she's the comic relief. She's a lighthearted person. She's the one that tells everybody, hey, take it easy, live life,
Have a Cosmo.
yeah, have a Cosmo and take a couple of rubbers. But when she goes to Abu Dhabi, man, she just turns into a person. All she does is make innuendos about sex. Always trying to fuck everything. I mean, she's looking at somebody and being like, look at the package on that guy right there. And they're like, Samantha's a fucking camel. Come on. That camel's like cock blocking bitches.
That's what she does. That's what she does in America too. Except the difference is here that it's awkward because the movie wants to say something desperately, but it doesn't have the guts to say it.
No, it doesn't.
So it vacillates back and forth between just having her be an ugly American and being on the verge of trying to make a point about sexism in the Middle East.
Yeah, and she does it to a point where you get annoyed with it because you're like, hey, you're dragging all your friends along with you, and they're about to get beheaded along with you because you just don't know when to fucking stop already and realize, you're putting your friends in some real serious fucking danger here if you want to get somewhat realistic with what they were doing in that country.
Thing is, she could be anywhere. She could have been here in the States. There's like maybe 1 or 2 moments where she becomes a real person, but over in this film, in this sequel, and especially in that setting, all she does is just say things like, lame jokes too. Like, oh, there's the rugby team from Australia. I hope they brought their balls.
I know. Even I wouldn't make that pun.
Fucking great.
Yeah. Rugby team from Australia. Okay, countdown to before there's a down under joke, 2, 3, 4, damn.
And by the way, it's another one of those movies where they go and they conveniently find the next set of white people. It's like they all of the native people, all the non-white people play backgrounds. Meanwhile, they manage to just smell out every hot white guy.
But it took me back to what Cyrus says. Like, this movie's not for me. There are scenes in here where I go like, okay, it's just them looking at shoes. It's just them riding camels. Nothing's happening. And I'm like, the only reason this could be in here is because it's for somebody not like me. Like, for me, I want to see a movie like The Hangover where, hey, these guys go into something and they're having adventures. Shit is happening. They aren't just looking at things. But for this population, I guess the female or gay population, for them, just being able to look at fancy settings and shoes, that does it for them.
Then we get a marvelous performance by Eliza Minnelli, who has obviously made a comeback by performing a Beyonce song.
That's another thing that brought the movie down. I'm like, okay, look, I don't like that they made gay people so gay in this movie. Right. It's a gay overkill. Because they go to a wedding, everybody is foppish.
Have you actually never met like a flaming New York gay guy before?
Yes, but I have also met like a down-to-earth, non-stereotype
Yes,
person.
but we know that. But these characters in the show have always been. Yeah, that's right. These characters in the show have always been that way.
I prefer having sex with the non-foppish gay guy because he doesn't talk as much.
But the other guys are like, oh. The only reason they had that scene was just so everyone could tell everyone else how gay that fucking wedding was.
Thing is,
that was like one long continuous joke, and I was waiting for Miss Piggy to fucking pop out.
That would have been awesome.
Hey, look at how fucking gay this is.
I started off feeling like you, but like they pushed it to a level to where I was like, okay, now I'm actually starting to enjoy it. Like, it is just so much.
I'll tell you what I did not.
And Eliza Minnelli part, I was like, oh, give me a break. And then once it started going, I was like, you know what? This is actually kind of cool.
Yeah, it's true. I saw Leon dancing during it.
It was self-consciously gay. It was self-aware gay, and I don't think it was by any means homophobic in the way it was presented, the way it sounds.
I'm not saying.
Well, I thought it looked like fun wedding. Yeah, I was like, shit, I'd want to go to that wedding.
Too. I was like, you know what? If I knew this was
you guys have fun.
I would like to be here to see this.
And they make gay jokes about us.
Wait, we just said
we're comfortable.
Yeah, we're the ones.
They'd be the ones showing in with suit and ties and no shirt on underneath the coat and shit.
They be dressed up like they're going to the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
I think they missed the point entirely.
They be dressed up like Snagglepuss, no clothes, nothing else but a collar and some cufflinks on. Where's the cake?
Hey man, leave your dreams out of this.
Oh damn.
No, because y'all got it wrong. See, y'all already getting defensive. Like, I said nothing about this being...
What?
Yeah.
You start snapping
I said nothing about this being homophobic. I said nothing about this even being offensive to gay men. I just said it was gay overkill. It's almost very close to my version of gay soul plane in this because, I mean, you walk in, it's like...
I'll give you that.
And here's the deal, because, like I said, everything, I mean, they're wearing all these, like, if they're wearing like the extra extravagant suits, the wedding is all white with like a 50-boy choir, and then they bring out Liza Minnelli, and I'm just like, I understand that you have a gay audience to appeal to.
If you don't have overkill, though, it's not a funny scene. There's no point to the scene unless you play with it like that, and that's why they did it. I thought it was funny. I thought it was funny.
I didn't think there was any point to it because honestly, it just felt like one long joke. Yeah, I mean, how can you not laugh at?
It felt like the producer stopped
gay guys
and said,
doing things.
"Oh yes, and for our gay audience, Liza Minnelli."
Yeah.
Well, that's exactly what they did.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
I do. I didn't, because the other thing is, like, let's just say we can take that. They go over to Abu Dhabi and they find the one little gay guy there, and even he has to like be all foppish, rolling his eyes all over the place.
They make him cartoonish.
I'm with you 100% on that.
They make him cartoonish.
That was like way too much. It's like, guys, come on.
I agree.
Back it off a little
And maybe that's the thing that really brought me like over the edge, because the gay scene, the gay wedding, it annoyed me, but I was all right with it. But when they just start like trying to target gay people everywhere they go, I'm like, man, really, do you really have to try that hard to appeal to your gay audience? I don't think so.
It was one thing when they made the joke about that character, but then when they kept showing him rolling his eyes and pouting, it's like, okay, that's just too much. Now this is offensive.
It was at the point of showing reaction shots of animals in movies. You know, when they do that, when they're like, the dog goes, ooh? They were doing that with the gay guy, and there's like, come on. Let him at least have a line or something.
The thing is, they could actually save the movie. They had a gay dog do that.
Going in expecting it to be a complete piece of shit. I expect this to be just like the most painful experience ever, like being in an Iron Maiden. And so since it wasn't, I was like, all right, I guess I'll go with it. But my God, they could trim this by an hour.
Oh,
because
easily.
2.5 hours is just too long.
It was one of
This
those.
is not Lord of the Rings.
Yeah,
2
no,
hours
it was
and 40 minutes.
There were so many endings to this goddamn thing. I was like, please, just go back to New York already. Fuck.
See, the other thing here is that really they are just sitting around. They're in another culture, and it's like they're just like looking at all the poor people, like the animals. I mean, just sitting around crying and about their really, when you get down to it, non-existent problems in New York. And like you get some like little blind crippled kid coming up, and she's just like, oh, rodent. Oh God, lady, what you doing?
The rats in the city are just getting crazy.
But man, see, they've get into a situation where it seems dire that they have to get out the country. I mean, they're in danger.
Yes.
And it turns into a Bob Hope movie.
Well, it does. It turns into
I was thinking Abbott and Costello.
Well,
all of those, man. All of those on the road type movies where, hey, to get away from the bad guys, we got to get into the native costumes. And I just didn't like that because they are in danger, it seems like. If nothing else, they're in danger of not making it back to America for a very long time. But what do? They stop to see how Americanized the women are behind the scenes there. And they also complain the whole time. It's like, oh, to them, it's not about danger. It's, we got to get on that plane soon, or else we're going to be riding on that plane and coach.
I know, and that's no
Right.
exaggeration. That's the drama, because if they don't make it in time, they'll have to ride coach instead of first class.
Not riding in coach. I'm sorry.
I know. I think I was the only one who said I halfway enjoyed the first Sex in the City. I was like you. I said this is for real fans.
You were the only one.
Who just said, you know what, this doesn't bother me. Now, as somebody who's watched the show and has actually enjoyed the show, and watching this movie, I can fairly say that this absolutely did no justice to that show at all. And people who go for it are going to be people who just want to see these characters come together again. There are moments, though. I just want to say some good things about it. There are moments where I really did like these characters. And I think the character that scene you were talking about with Cynthia Nixon and Kristen Davis, I thought that was a really good scene. They were being human beings.
Yeah.
The other scene that I liked is at the end of the movie. Mr. Big makes an appearance.
I actually liked all of his scenes. Chris Noth is really great in that role. I mean, he plays like a guy who's really and genuinely in love with his wife, and even with her being as big of a bitch as she is, he's human enough to go like, you know, there's points where he's like, hey, look, this is you can move out, or I can just leave for a little bit. But he still stays in love with her and tries to treat her right and do the right thing.
I mean, he is the best husband ever, because when she comes to him, it's like, what was the line where she's like, she's
like, am I just being a bitch, a wife who nags you?
And the whole male part of the audience wants to scream, yes!
Yeah,
you
damn
can
it.
see it on his lips.
I tell you, man.
Yes! But no, he doesn't say that, because he's like a fantasy husband.
Yeah, it was.
Man, Chris Noth, he is the character that I like the most in this film. And once they leave New York, you hardly see him. And there's one thing that he said at the end of this movie that really encompassed his personality. He comes in and he tells Carrie, he says, how did I handle this problem? Because I'm an adult.
Yes.
And he's the only one. I was like, wow, he's the only guy that is acting like a mature person in this film. And I wish I could have seen more of those kind of relationships.
I was hoping that Mr. Big was going to hook up with Penelope Cruz. So he had
man.
in the bar.
I know.
I was like, because you know what? These movies do have titties in them sometimes. I'm like, I've seen them. I'm ready to see them again.
And you know what? Penelope
Rip
Cruz,
those suckers out.
she was the hottest fucking chick in this movie. It's funny that you said that, that, Leon, you were mentioning these, you want to see these characters grow up. Well, they fucking grown up about 3 or 4 times. I don't know how much more growing up they could do, because, man, they're looking like they're fucking melting. They look like a bunch of walking candlesticks that have been lit for too long.
I mean, at their age.
If they do a third movie, they're going to have Pixar make it.
It'll basically be the Golden Girls at that point.
Yeah.
No, I'd rather see fucking Muppets being made out of them. Miss Piggy has to be the new star.
It is funny, like, he gets one nice moment, he gets cock blocked by his wife. Like, damn it, he's just like, look, would you get the fuck out of here? I got something going on.
Okay, can I say this one thing, though? There was actually one decent thing in this film, and that's the babysitter with the huge tits.
I was gonna say,
always
right.
the see-through shirt. Oh my fucking god!
Man, they actually try to put something in there for the straight guys. For me, all the lesbians. I mean, our
straight robot.
Yeah, there's a babysitter. I thought it was Heidi Klum at first.
I don't know who that was,
She had too much meat on her to do that, and Seal wasn't around anywhere. But no, the babysitter. They have some Irish or Scottish babysitter in this. No, she's Irish. And
Irish.
Yeah, she comes in. And they take a lot of scenes where they like wet her. There's a wet t-shirt contest.
And they don't give a fuck who's in the room. There's children around her, and fucking her tits are just flying in the air.
Flying and like
with
knocking the kids against the
wall.
Oh yeah, hitting the kids.
The kids are laughing and clapping.
And it's funny because all the men in the movie are just there frozen, except for their eyeballs moving back and forth.
Every guy within 100 yards, brains have shut down.
Even in that fucking theater.
That's even like a 7-year-old kid who's having flashbacks of being breastfed. He's trying to lick that shit.
No, you can hear the powering down that they're.
And that I would say the movie's trying to be fair to throw something in there for the guys who get dragged in. But man, let me just go and get into my review. As somebody who recognizes that this show does appeal more to women. They put the money shot in there for a man with their abs and chest showing. They do a lot of shopping for women. I know that this is for women. I know that. And I didn't mind that when I watched the show. So I held nothing against that when I criticized this movie, when they showed too much of that here. I think this movie really did, like, everything that show built up to. It does it a total injustice. I did not like this at all. I give it some bullshit.
Wow. Well, I'm going to reiterate by saying that I really think that anything we say has nothing to do with the audience this is meant for. I mean, I appreciate you think it does, but I really don't think it does.
I do. I know I'm not as a hardcore fan as some women are, but I'm just trying to be fair. I recognize the show for what it is and liked it, but it never bothered me. But this show, I'm taking it as a movie.
No,
not as anything else.
I heard what you said. I'm just saying I don't necessarily agree with you. I think that this is what that crowd wants to see. I think it is as a movie, as opposed to the last film, which was, acceptable at best, even for a lot of the fans who I talked to. And my rating means nothing when I say this is a low rental for me. I mean, there are bits here and there that I actually enjoyed. There's some parts I actually laughed out loud at, but generally speaking, this is, really incredibly tedious experience for 90% of the men out there who are heterosexual.
The thing that bothers me the most is, like, it could have been tightened up and been okay. But like I said, it wasn't the painful experience I was expecting. I thought for sure, as I told you, Corey, like, man, this is going to suck, and I'm probably not going to sit through it. I'm going to be bored. I'm going to fall asleep. I'm just going to get up in the middle and leave. And you know what?